I am Optimus Prime. At least I used to be. You see, I tried out for the role in the new movie, but Michael Bay turned me down. He said I was foxy and retro, and he wanted a more modern look. I suggested the fans might like the old classic feel, but Mr. Bay disagreed. But then, after he hired that new guy, Mr. Bay told me he didn't like that new guy's voice, so he had me record his voiceovers. So don't tell him that I voiced over all of his lines. I wouldn't want to embarrass him, but that whole dying and coming back thing, that was my idea. Still, it could have been a lot worse. They could have replaced me with Lord Elrond, or that eyebrow guy from The Matrix, or Megatron.
Hey, guess what? This is my theme song! I have now seen Transformers Revenge of the Fallen 4 times, and I have to say, I'm in love with that movie. It was considerably better than the first movie, and it's like the more I watch the second movie, the more I dislike the first movie. I read reviews about the second movie several years ago before it was ever even actually announced officially, and the reviews that I read said that this movie was going to be more for the fan of the Transformers franchise as opposed to the first movie, which was actually more for the person who wasn't a fan so that they could introduce more fans to the franchise. And it was definitely more accurate too than the first movie was. I never read the comic books or anything like that. I just watched the original Generation 1 series, so when I say that it is more accurate, I'm comparing it to that. The original Generation 1 series from the mid-80s, and then in Beast Wars from the early 90s. Everything after that, like Transformers Armada, Transformers Energon, Transformers Animated, which by the way was made by the same people that made Teen Titans. And if I wanted to see Teen Titans, I would just watch Teen Titans. But I don't want to watch the Teen Titans. Just like in the original Generation 1 cartoon, in Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen, the Decepticons are hungrily searching for Energon because their home planet of Cybertron is running out of energy, and they need all the energy that they can get to keep up their battle with the Autobots. And they don't even care about the damage they're causing to the planet Earth. Now, when the original show aired in the mid-80s, I was just a kid, like a very, very small kid. And no matter how hard I try to find it now on DVD, it's like it doesn't, like, I can't find it anywhere. That's why I love YouTube. Links to a few of the channels that post episodes of the original series over there in the sidebar. Or bar, as it's commonly pronounced. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie yet, and you want to see the movie, and you don't want me to spoil anything for you, then you should probably turn it off now, because the rest of this video is going to feature spoilers. Just like in the original cartoon, the Decepticons have a device called the Sun Needle that will harvest the energon from our sun, destroying every planet in our solar system. Just like in the original, Optimus Prime dies, and then is later resurrected with the help of the Matrix of Leadership. This movie also features Jetfire, which in the old cartoon was called Skyfire, but just like in the old cartoon, he originally was a Decepticon and then changed sides to the Autobots. It's a good thing he did too, because he's a pretty powerful Transformer. Although, I don't know why they made him British and old and with a walking stick. Oh well. I really liked the way they interpreted Soundwave in this movie. In the original cartoon, Soundwave was a cassette tape player. He was also the Decepticons' communications expert, which made it pretty appropriate that in this movie he was a satellite orbiting around the Earth. Just like in the cartoon, he had smaller robots that ejected out of him. Of course, in the cartoon, those smaller robots were tapes that came out from his chestal area. One of those cassette tapes that was ejected from his chestal area was Ravage, and this movie features Ravage being ejected from his chestal area. Although because he's a satellite, he didn't really have a chestal area. He was just like this floating thing with wings and a face. But nonetheless, he ejected Ravage, and Ravage went and did some stuff. Also, the graphics in this movie were so much better than they were in the first movie. You could actually tell what was going on in some of the action sequences, unlike the first movie.